The only place on earth that Donald Trump is beloved, admired, adored, and appreciated is Israel. The only place that Benjamin Netanyahu is admired, adored, beloved is the United States. If this is not shared values, what is shared values? Some of my ex-best friends are on their way now to the real thing, to the APEC conference, which will start on this weekend. Politicians, journalists, to what I call as the annual drug dealers conference. They will discuss how many more drugs will they send to the Israel occupation-addicted state, how much more friendship will they express, and how much more money and weapons will they supply. And I can tell you, in the United States, as an Israeli, we don't have a bigger enemy than the Jewish lobby. We don't have a bigger enemy for justice, for peace, for equality, than those who think that if you supply the drug addicted with more drugs, you are his friend. That if you support him blindly and automatically, whatever he does, you are a friend. No, my friends, those are not friends, those are enemies. And I can't tell you how happy and proud I am to be here today and not there tomorrow. Thank you. The title of my lecture speaks about Zionism. And Zionism is one of the two religions of Israel. And as religion, as any religion, you can't question it. The second religion is obviously the religion of security. So between Zionism and security, anyone in Israel who dares to raise any kind of question marks is immediately perceived as a traitor. It's impossible to describe you what does it mean to say that you have some questions about Zionism. Imagine yourself if you question today the other religion, if you claim that the Israeli IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, are not the most moral army in the world. Let's say they are the second moral army in the world. How dare you? We are getting it with the milk of our mothers, even though my mother was not such a Zionist, I think. But it's very hard to understand from the outside how an ideology became part of the DNA. How an ideology became something which must be taken for granted, and there is no room for any question marks. I know it about myself. I know how I grew up. I know what I thought about those very, very, very few who claim that they are not Zionists or, God forbid, anti-Zionists. They were the Satans, even though they were Jews and Israelis. I don't recall one example on earth in which an ideology is so totalitarian, is so saint, is so holy that you have no right to put any kind of doubts, question marks, nothing, not about the past, not about the future, not about the present, nothing. It's unbelievable when you live in a state in which if you declare that you don't accept this ideology, you are not part of the place. You are not part of society. You have no place there. Go to Gaza, go to Damascus. Don't stay here. And this leads me to the title. Because when it comes to Zionism, and friends, we have to face reality. When it comes to Zionism, there is no difference in Israel between left and right. When it comes to the occupation, which is part and parcel of Zionism, there is no meaningful difference between left and right in Israel. And when I mean left and right, I mean the so-called Zionistic left, Labor and others, and the right-wingers. The difference is only by rhetorics. So those of you, and I know some of my Israeli friends who bought already some champagne bottles, ready to open them the moment that Benjamin Netanyahu will be impeached or even go to jail, and they will celebrate how Israel is coming from darkness to light, how freedom and peace is around the corner because we got rid of the tyrant, the right-winger, the fascist, and after this, the light is around the corner. As usually, I have bad news for you. Because by the end of the day, when you judge the real policy, not the rhetorics, yes, Labor and left are having much more sympathetic rhetorics. Between other sins that I committed, one of my sins was working for Shimon Peres for 4 years. He didn't stop talking about putting an end to the occupation. He didn't stop talking about it's not democratic and not justice, that one people governs another people. Beautiful, beautiful ideas that Benjamin Netanyahu and those right-wingers would have never say. But by the end of the day, Peace Nobel Prize winner Shimon Peres is the founding father of the settlements project. So what do we get out of these nice rhetorics except of showing a nice face of Israel and doing the very, very, very same crimes? So I'm here not to spread optimism, as you might know me by now. But when it comes to the basic, Israel is really united. I still remember, Grant, those days in which the joke was that 3 Israelis shared, sorry, I spoiled it. The 2 Israelis share 3 views. Today, 3 Israelis share hardly 1 view. And it will be not only Zionist, but pro-occupation. As you might know, occupation is off the table in Israel. Nobody talks about it. Nobody discussed it. Nobody is concerned about the occupation. It is, you know, like one of those things, like the rain, like the sun, force majeure. Some like it less. But nobody thinks that anything can be done about it. It doesn't bother us so much. That's the truth. It's only half an hour away from our homes, but who hears about it and who cares about it? And the crimes are on a daily basis, but really daily basis. The media hardly covers them, and if they cover them, it will be always according to the Zionistic narrative. A terrorist of 12, a girl of 14 with scissors in her hands as an existential threat to the state of Israel. A girl who is slapping a soldier as someone who deserves life sentence, not less than this. A girl that 1 hour before her cousin was shot in his head 50 meters away from her home. So now the Israeli army claims that this was fabricated. I mean, even the Israeli propaganda lost its shame. When Israel dares to claim that this child, Muhammad Tamimi, whom I met a few days after he was injured, he lost half of his brain, that he fabricated his injury, then you see that Israel is really desperate. If Israel needs this kind of level of propaganda, if Israel is getting so low in denying shooting in the head of a child of 15 and claiming that he fell from the bicycles, then you know that things are getting worse. Maybe it's a hope for a new beginning.